Good evening to the Makah community. Today is Friday, June 19th, 2020. My name is TJ Green, Chairman for the Makah Tribe, and this is the Makah Tribal Council's COVID-19 Pandemic Response Update. This message is brought to you on behalf of the entire Makah Tribal Council, Vice Chairman Keith Johnson Sr., Treasurer Patrick DePoe, Councilman John Idas Sr., and Councilman George Chad Beauchamp. We have a few things that we'd like to emphasize as we've been in phase two. And we want to make sure that people, clearly understand that the intent of phase two was to allow us to do more locally. It is not intended to bring outside visitation into our community, but we've been doing such a good job over the last 3 months locally that it made sense to ease up restrictions for us here that live in the Makah community. And so, things of such as allowing outside visitations to occur with social distancing, so you can see some of the family that you've had and interact with them as long as you're socially distant. And we certainly want to encourage wearing these masks. It's really important to wear a mask. It's the data is showing that this plays a big role in containing the spread of a virus like the COVID virus is. So as we're in phase two, we want people to not become comfortable that it's safe. Phase two does not mean that it's safe, that the virus is no longer a threat. It is still a real threat, and there's places across the country that are really seeing some very large spikes in their cases. Places like Florida and Texas are seeing some extremely high rates that are going on. As well as our state is having a number of areas that are seeing a large number of cases come about as well. So even within the state of Washington, travel is certainly still discouraged. There are different areas that have different levels of risk. And so that's what we're trying to emphasize in phase two is educating people on if you have to travel, if you have to leave, know the risk level of where you're going and how to protect yourself, because it's all of our responsibility to be responsible for ourselves and to do the right things and to limit our interactions with the public and with other households. We're still discouraging interactions with households. Being inside of them with people that aren't part of your household is something that we're discouraging. We don't want to see those things going on. However, outside gatherings, we can do that. We can do an outside gathering safe enough because we have a low disease activity in our community, and we want to keep it that way. And so it's really important that when you do travel, when you do have to leave the reservation, that you take all the precautions that you've been taking. Don't let up on those. Continue to wash your hands, wear your mask, and limit your time in public spaces, because we want to keep the disease activity low here in the Makah community. We have no known cases, and that's how we want to keep it. If we start to have cases, we're going to have to go back to having tighter restrictions. And so it's incumbent on all of us to be responsible that way. And we know that there's friends and family and stuff that been living off of the reservation, that haven't been living in the community, that want to come home, they want to visit, and those are tough. Those are tough things. I have a son and grandchildren that I haven't seen in over 3 months, and I'm not able to do that yet because it's not a safe activity to do. So we're not asking you to do anything that we're not willing to do ourselves as council members. And as council members all have families in those same situations. So we ask the community to, we're happy that you're asking those questions so we can try to explain them as best we can. But let's remember that the threat of this COVID virus is still prevalent in the county. There were a number of new cases over the last couple of weeks. I think over 6 cases. Some of them labeled as community spread within Clallam County, and so that's very concerning. We have to keep close eye on that and see what happens. One of those community spreads cases had a high number of contacts throughout the county, and that's something that we're going to be watching with our public health officials and working with Clallam County Public Health as well to keep track of that. So one other thing that I want to talk about real quickly is that the tribe is working to get some of the funding out. We have developed policies and have been able to get some clearer guidance from the federal government on, how these monies can be used and how they shouldn't be used. And that's been a struggle. We apologize that it's taken so long, but it's been a struggle getting clear guidance that's changed many times, and it's even changed a little more as early as today. So, however, we are moving forward with small business relief assistance. Those applications have been available. Many have turned them in already. Contact Patty Manuel or Vince Cook to if you haven't received an application yet, and you can be informed of the details of and the requirements in order to qualify for the small business assistance. We're also going to be doing additional broader community assistance, in the form of benefits to our members. Those will be coming early next week. The details of it are still getting worked out, but we'll have more information on that early next week, and things will start to get moving out to the community for households and community members to receive additional benefits for for the impacts that we've been suffering, the increased grocery costs, the increased utility bills, and those sort of things are the areas that the tribe wants to address and give help to the community for those impacts that they've been suffering from for these months. So watch for those next week. If you have any questions, you can call our general manager or the operations director, or anyone from council, as many of you have done. So we're always available to try to answer calls and answer questions and do what we can. Once again, we appreciate everybody's patience. We know that this is very tough and uncertain times, but we want to make sure that we stress that this is not over. There are still a lot of dangers with traveling. So please, if you don't need to travel, don't travel. And and while you're in Nia Bay, if you're going to the mini mart, going to Washburns, let's see more of these masks. I'd like to see more of them, people wearing them and taking taking the risks seriously. It's proven in the data that wearing a mask is a very big benefit for reducing the spread of this virus. All right, everybody have a good weekend. I hope you get to relax and enjoy some of the outdoors. I'm not sure what the weather looks like, but it's warming up a little bit this time of year. So have a good time. Remember to social distance and take care. Sure.